Hi, it's Jessie. I'm here with an exciting announcement. We're going to be hosting a Wheel of Time themed readathon for the month of January. So what you'll see on the screen is the Eye of the World Wheel of Time map. And for this readathon, you'll be following the path our heroes take throughout the Eye of the World. And at certain spots along their journey, there will be a prompt for a type of book for you to read. I guess I'm going to give you kind of a mild spoiler warning for Eye of the World if you haven't read it, just because I'm giving you the locations our characters go to, and it's not necessarily that they go to the places you expect them to go from the beginning of the book, so if that's something that's going to bother you, I'll have a list of prompts in the description that doesn't have the locations connected to it, so you can just read the prompts and not really understand the theme, but that's fine. So for each prompt, as I go through them, you'll see on the screen some suggestions of books you can read that fit this prompt. I'll highlight one from each of these lists so that you can kind of get an idea of what I might recommend, but it's just some popular book suggestions that fit the prompt. So getting into those, the first one is for the lovely town of Emmonsfield, where we meet all of the wonderful characters. And for this, to honor the pastoral origins of Wheel of Time and many other fantasy series, read a book that either takes place in or starts in some sort of small town. My recommendation for this one is Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. This book is about a small gated community where this mother and daughter move and just kind of turn the entire town upside down. After the events of Winter Night, they have to race out of town and they cross the Taryn River via the Taryn Ferry. To cross the Taryn with our heroes, read a book that features some seedy characters, the kind of characters that make you think that's some Taryn Ferry folk. I don't read too many books in this category just because I'm a light, fluffy kind of person, but you could read Brent Week's Night Angel trilogy. Specifically, the first one is The Way of Shadows, which features assassins, so, real shady folk. Next stop for our friends is the town of Barrelon, the biggest city they've ever seen. And since we meet the lovely men in the city of Barrelon, read a book that features a prophecy. A lot of fantasy features prophecies, and I'm a big fan of prophecies, so I'm going to recommend a book that I read a long time ago back in high school, The Wayfarer Redemption by Sarah Douglas. After that, our group ends up hiding in Shadar Logoth, which is a creepy city that's been taken over by some dark, mysterious entity after the fall of a utopia. So, read a book that's maybe a dystopia, maybe it features a fallen society, that kind of vibe, that Shadar Logoth, corruption from within kind of vibe. I would recommend The Giver by Lois Lowry, a really good utopia, dystopia kind of story. Now from here, this is when our gang splits up. So you can follow whichever path you want. You can follow Rand, Matt, and Tom if you would like. You can follow Perrin and Egwene, or Nynaeve, Moraine, and Lan. If you're following Rand, Matt, and Tom, you take a nice trip down the Arenelle River. When you board the Spray and meet Master Doman, read a book that has a boat in it. Yes, that is exactly as open as it sounds. As it turns out, I don't read a lot of books with boats in them, but I assume Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb's really good. Maybe give her a chance. After they get off the Spray at White Bridge, read something that's got a landmark on the cover. This could be a really famous building or a unique landform, just, I don't know, a landmark. There's a lot of really good books that fall into this when you can get a little more creative with it, but of the ones I'm suggesting up here, I recommend you read The Westing Game. This isn't super famous or popular, but I read it in middle school and loved it, so, for my nostalgia, read The Westing Game. And then they travel by foot across the countryside of Andor, stopping in many, many little towns, but let's just skip to Four Kings. And for Four Kings, read a book with a number in the title, because that's fun. I was originally going to highly recommend Slaughterhouse-Five because I love that book, but given that I've recently finished it, read the 5th season. it's amazing. Just please read the 5th season. But if you're not interested in taking Rand and Matt's path, you could instead follow Perrin and Egwene as they've traveled across country. First, the two of them meet Elias, and then they spend some time traveling with Tinkers. And since apparently Ram and Egwene is Nate's favorite ship, read a book that's a romance, or at least has a large romantic subplot. I don't read too many things that are romance-centric, but maybe read The Deep by River Solomon. There's a love story at the center of that book. After they leave the Tinkers, they end up spending a night in the Steady. For the Steading, which is the home of the Ogier, it's a place that's all about nature. Read a book that has some sort of plant on the cover. Could be a specific plant, could be the word plant, but a plant on the cover. I'm going to recommend the Tea Dragon Society because it's just absolutely delightful. It's really just the sweetest read. And with that, they get captured and end up in the White Cloak camp, so read a book with a white cover. I read a lot of these because this is my aesthetic. I'm going to recommend A Natural History of Dragons by Marie Brennan. It's a really interesting read that I think it's a really good book. Now you'll notice that Moraine and Nynaeve's path follows through and they go to Whitebridge and then the White Cloak camp, so their prompts overlap. And then the group reunites in Caemlyn. Since Caemlyn is home of Morghese and the entire matriarchal line of Andor, read a book that features women in power. This could be political power, it could be magical power, it could be just women in charge. I'm going to recommend The Bees by Laeleen Paul because I need more people to read that so they can understand the kind of confusion and feelings I have about it. It's purely selfish. Read The Bees. And then the group travels the Ways. The Ways are definitely one of the creepiest elements in the entire Wheel of Time series, so if you want to travel the Ways, read a horror. Or at least a heavily horror-esque novel. Something a little bit spooky, a little bit scary. I'm going to recommend... Coraline is absolutely fantastic, and of all of these I've read, probably the scariest, but I'm going to have to go with Frankenstein because you can't beat a classic. And then when we leave the Ways, we find ourselves in Fal Dara. If you'd like to visit Fal Dara, read an Eastern-inspired fantasy. There's a lot of options for these. It's becoming a more popular and more recognized subset of fantasy, but please just read J.Y. Yang's Tenserate series. And then after that, they travel through the Blight. It's a fascinating and exciting new place. So read this book, a place you wouldn't normally read. If you're a sit in my bed and read kind of person, maybe chill in your living room or take a walk to a park in a safe manner and read there or something like that. Just someplace a little bit unusual. Once we get in the Blight, our group camps in the lost city, lost country of Malkiar. If you really, really want to get in that Malkieri spirit, read a revenge story. Remember, to avenge what cannot be defended. This is another prompt I don't read a lot of, so this will be interesting for me, but give Hamlet a try. You can't beat Hamlet if you want a good revenge story. Finally, we reach the Garden of the Green Man, and you get to tiptoe through his beautiful garden, watching the butterflies, make yourself a lovely flower crown. But the Green Man has at least some of its roots in myth and folklore and fairy tale, so read a book that draws from that, either a retelling of a fairy tale, something clearly inspired by folklore, anything that fits that vibe. For my selection, I think I'm going to recommend Ella Enchanted. If you've seen the movie, it's nothing like the movie, but honestly, it's amazing. Okay, so those are the prompts, and again, the idea is you follow our friends through their journey. You can read as many or as few of these as you want. Two rules. One, you can overlap books, but only if the prompts are neighboring each other. For example, you could read a book for Whitebridge and Four Kings, or The Green Man's Garden and Malkiar, but you can't read a book for Fal Dara and Baerlon. Next, you have to read these in order. That's the other thing. You can't do your journey all over the place. You gotta follow the path. But beyond that, it's really up to you. Read as many or as few of these prompts as you want. I'm going to have a TBR that has books that fit every prompt, but quite frankly, I'm fooling myself if I think I will finish all of them. If you need limitations on it, if you need qualifiers for how do you win this readathon, read the first book, anything in the middle, and the last book. So that's Emmons Field, anything in the middle, and The Green Man's Garden. So you at least get an idea of their journey. We're also going to be doing a group book for this readathon. I haven't picked what that is, and the main reason is because I want input. I really want to make sure that this is accessible. One of the things that has turned me off of group books for readathons in the past is how difficult it is to get them. So go check out our Twitter at @PodAnother. There is a poll up right now with 4 options of different group books we're considering. And whichever one wins the poll, that'll be the one we do, because like I said, I really want to allow as many people as possible to get involved. My TBR will be up very soon. Some other things that will be coming soon. There will be a calendar with some events that we'll be doing. I'll be hosting some things, and keep an eye out, because I think I'll be able to get some more Wheel of Time content creators roped into helping me out with this, doing things like reading sprints or the like. So keep an eye on our Twitter account. Again, that's at @PodAnother if you're interested in following along with that. And finally, use the hashtag WoTathon whenever you want to share your thoughts on whatever social media you're going to be using. That's hashtag WOTAthon. Okay, that's everything. I cannot wait to see everybody's TBRs for this, if you choose to vlog it, whatever. I'm really excited for this, and I hope you are too. Okay, bye.